Ladies and gentlemen, we're on Cloud Kingdom, and in the bottom left-hand corner, we have our Orange Terran player from FXO, the Tal Terran himself, GuMiho. He's down 2-3 at the moment to our 7-time reigning Fight Club champion, Team SEV Live's HyuN, who has won $3,800 in the past 7 weeks of Best of Nines.
All right, so I'm thinking of just like other winning streaks or just streaks in sports. So like Cal Ripken Jr. has to be mentioned as the Iron Man in baseball, played in, you know, thousands of consecutive games. I think it was 1,600, 1,300?
A ridiculous amount.
Something like
Joe
that.
DiMaggio's hitting streak, I think, comes to mind.
And I'm thinking about Bill Goldberg from wrestling, if anyone remembers. He won over 100 matches in a row, wrestling matches, before being defeated by Chris Jericho, of all people. Wow. 8th grade was a wonderful time for everyone.
I know nothing about I know absolutely nothing about wrestling.
Bill Goldberg, his entrance, he would actually come out and be bathed in like sparks. So he would get like super sweaty right as the match started. I think that helped him wrestle because he was just so hard to like hold on to and get in the air and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just crazy. He was the one who did the spear. That was his move. Like he didn't. There's nothing flashy. He would just friggin' headbutt you in the stomach and the spear. And he won like 100 matches straight. It's ridiculous.
For those of you who don't know, I used to host a sports talk show. Wrestling never came up.
Weird.
Oddly enough. So yeah, never talked about it. So.
I think you missed a lot of a wealth of culture and lovely entertainment that will be cherished by millions for years to come.
Ah.
Yep.
Okay.
You missed out.
I guess I did.
On Bill Goldberg and the spear.
Evidently. Well, HyuN's satisfied. He's going to get his way out of the base. We'll see if GuMiho decides then, okay, you're done scouting. I'm going to do something weird. Nope, doesn't look like it. Orbital Command coming up, and he's going to 1-max Gasless Fast Expand. HyuN, of course, has his spawning pool. We should see a, yeah, there it is, an Extractor coming up. So everything's looking very, very consistent, normal for him, too.
But at least in wrestling, you can hit people with chairs and not be DQ'd.
That's true.
I mean, if you tried that in football, you'd probably get away with it, but you'd get fined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, of course, you know, Coach Knight tried that, I guess, in basketball, but that didn't work out either. So
I don't know if he was aiming at anyone.
No, he just threw chairs.
Yeah, if he was aiming, then it wasn't that good because he just kind of threw it across the floor. Now I'm imagining like alternate universe where he actually threw a chair at somebody and like broke their arm or something and
destroyed their face, just like.
That would be crazy.
Oy.
All right, so what's happening in this game? This is StarCraft, right?
Yeah, Water Access is Fast Expand, and HyuN's doing the same thing he's done always, ever.
I'm shocked and appalled that any of those things would happen, but yeah, just fill in some time while we get through the inevitable 6-minute start. GuMiho not bunker rushing, so I mean, it's really nothing to throw HyuN off his game. Quick expand, actually double expand from GuMiho, as he's already got the one building at the natural as well, so he's looking to play a longer game here. Yeah,
and of course he'll keep this base inside of his main for a while, so he can saturate his 3 bases as quickly, or his 2 bases as quickly as possible, and then when he feels secure, he can eventually start to drop it down on 3rd.
I really thought you were going to say he can avenge somebody, and I was like, what? Well, who's he going to avenge? I guess his Terran brethren alive in Major. He can avenge them if he does manage to get a few more wins here. But HyuN is only 2 maps away from victory, so if HyuN manages to get the win on this map, GuMiho is going to have a tough battle when trying to win 3 straight, something that I don't think anyone's ever done, so could be a tough road for him. But let's see. I mean, Cloud Kingdom, obviously both players are being pretty passive. I like the move with the barracks. He should be able to score that Overlord kill.
Yep. Goes down. That's very annoying for Zerg players to deal with at the beginning of the game. On top of that, he's starting to build his barracks wall up at the front, and because he has double gas coming down, he could very well do that style where he makes a bunch of unupgraded Marines and then goes right into mech afterwards. It is actually pretty powerful on this map. HyuN, though, doing a very nice job spreading out all of his overlords, making sure he takes vision of the map.
And a 6-minute hatchery, and a Roach Warren.
Yep.
And Zergling speed is almost done.
All those things.
So, yeah, the 3rd hatch, we're not going to opt for the Roach Bust this time around. Interesting to see. So, if he does ever get to scout that 3rd base, I'm wondering if he's going to switch gears at all or just continue that lovely mixture of Ling, Baneling, Roach, and Fester into Broodlords.
He could. He could very well.
He doesn't like Ultras. He just doesn't, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
strangely enough.
Yeah, I like watching Broodlord Corruptor and Fester much more than I do Ling and Fester Ultra.
Yep, Ultras are still just too fat and dumb and don't know how to attack things properly, and you know, just get pulled apart by Marauders and tanks. So it's a tough road to just choose for yourself.
Ultras too fat and dumb.
They are.
So.
I really feel like because Colossi can walk over units, I know that the coding's in the game. I want Ultras to be able to walk over Lings. And I mean, you could balance it. You could balance the damage ratios to, you know, have lower damage on Ultras. Yeah, but like Lings and Ultras should be able to coexist a lot better than they do. And it's been 2 years.
Right now, one Ling correctly placed will actually stop an Ultra from getting through paths.
They're stronger than Marauders and tanks. If a Ling is in the wrong place, it's going to do more damage than you know, actually killing the Ultra.
Well, as we can see, GuMiho is deciding just to move into Biomech as quick as possible. He has his 3 barracks in place. He's starting to get a tech lab, so he's going to have very late stim. He's actually going to have stim about halfway through 2-2 if he finishes his armory at about the right time.
All right, and yeah, he is actually adding another starport, so that's going to be that Banshee support that we've seen in the last few games. HyuN is still just going to roll ahead with his normal stuff. He is actually going to attack with the first 6 roaches. Was that 6 or 7, actually?
Oh, and this is pretty good for him. He's going to get that tech lab, and there's actually nothing that GuMiho can do about that. Fortunately, having your barracks up the front does keep them pretty exposed to stuff along those lines, and while he's got just 3 barracks up here at the front, he's got to start repairing them. Finally, siege mode is done, though, and these roaches are going to have to move back.
Yep, but not before HyuN sinks a few more points of damage into that barrack, so thus GuMiho will repair it back up, so some resource cost at least is exchanged, but Baneling Nest is coming up now for HyuN. He's got that double Evo chamber that we saw earlier with +1/+1 coming along for melee attacks. Lair is on the way. All these timings, very typical stuff from HyuN, and you know, the more he plays every week, the more it just cements the fact that he sticks to what works. And right now, you can see that 30 supply lead is working for him.
8-minute 50 layer, a 9-minute 10 Baneling Nest once again, and things are as standard as they could be. HyuN moving up to 6 gas, though, which is certainly nice. He'll need that moving forward. I like how he prioritizes minerals a little bit more than some players do at the very beginning and make sure that most of his infrastructure is in place before he starts trying to pump out units. And as you know, people were correctly talking about in the live report thread as well, you know, so many Zerg players have been prioritizing tech over just sheer number of units and bases lately that, you know, it's not necessarily always the case anymore that, you know, you either have to stay a base up on your opponent or that a Terran player who's on even bases with their Zerg opponent is in a big advantage or a big lead.
Well, look at the huge line of production that we've got from both players. GuMiho's is reaching the center of the screen there, and GuMiho actually did take out an Overlord, but it's not going to matter that much. HyuN just rebuilt about 8 more, so he's got plenty of supply cap ready to go for any mass numbers of Lings or Banelings or Roaches or whatever he wants to make. Pathogen glands are on the way now, and HyuN is establishing a 4th base without too much opposition from his opponent GuMiho.
Pretty good spot to stop that Overseer. Let's see what it's gotten in and seen. Okay, yeah, it hasn't seen any of the tech over here. Of course, none of this is really going to come as a shock, so...
Viking did just kill his Overseer, so he knows there's a starport.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like HyuN was going to pick up on any weird tech, but it would have been very nice to see the exact amount of structures that were down, how much production is going to be in play, things like that.
All he's got to do is Neural Parasite and SCV, build a command center, get up to scan, and then he can just scan whenever he wants. I don't know why more Zerg players don't just do that.
Yeah, that's right. That should hit like 8 or 9 minutes from now. That should be easy.
Easy game.
Well, HyuN has his 4th base up and running, finally starting the gas over there as well. Income rates are pretty good for both our players, as we can see. 20 worker advantage at the moment for HyuN.
Man, those upgrades still reaching all the way to the center of the map. He's just making everything right now, not being bashful about it, but he did switch away from mech. He's decided the one time that it lost is it's not worth reinvesting in. So he is going to give Bio another chance. Bio tanks are a good combination, so we'll see how it does. Obviously, HyuN is going to be throwing the same sorts of things at him, so if this is what he thinks is going to do the best against Ling, Baneling, and Fester, then it better work.
No stim up, though, for another 10 seconds, and it'd be very, very bad for GuMiho if he had to engage without any sort of stim available, but looks like he will delay just long enough. 2-2 actually finishing up before stim did, just seconds before, but still. +2 weapons for his mech is coming up, and GuMiho, of course, not letting me down, being very orderly with his structures once again.
And I like the nice column placement as well. That's what I tend to do when I play Terran in team games and stuff. But here we go. Lings are running in. This is actually a great spread from GuMiho. The tanks are spread very nice. nicely. Marines are spread to basically try and keep them away from the banelings, but Fungal is going to go down. That's a ton of banelings, actually way more than I realized he had, and GuMiho is going to pay for that.
Yeah, they were actually morphing in right at the beginning of the fight. That's why they were a bit delayed there.
Oh, man.
But the bad part for GuMiho was that his tanks had sieged up literally about 3 seconds too late. Had they even been just a little bit quicker, those extra couple of critical splash damage shots would have made such a big difference.
So lots of banelings were soaked into that Marauder, but there are enough Lings and Roaches here to be able to still kill off a couple of units. He is going to back off with his Infestors. He realizes that, you know, those Roaches are basically done, so he just runs away from the Roaches to keep the Infestors alive. Spire has just started along with 3-3 and Adrenal Glands.
Yeah, and this is the HyuN I'm used to seeing decide to get Hive just for 3-3 and Adrenal Glands initially, and then wait on any sort of tier 3 tech until afterwards. That is classic HyuN.
Yep, lots and lots of Banelings could be potentially morphing in here. He's had some good success already in this game with them. He's up 40 supply as a result of that last encounter. 2 Ghost Academies coming up for GuMiho, though. We could see some nukes.
Oh, we will see some nukes. I mean, yeah, he may decide to invest in both Mobius Reactor and Personal Cloaking at the same time, sure, but afterwards, you don't build 2 Ghost Academies unless you're planning to produce nukes.
All right, well, let's see how he does. He's going Mobius Reactor and Cloak.
Yep.
So he's double upgrading these Ghosts. Obviously, he wants to land some nice EMPs, but the tricky part about EMP versus Fungal is Fungal's instant and range. Oh, great blast from those Banelings. Wow. And, yeah, so Fungal's instant and ranged, and EMPs, even if they land, sometimes 1 or 2 Fungals is all you need to get that easy positioning. Like, Fungal is just a lot more useful for a Zerg player than, say, Storm for Protoss, because it's holding these units in place for the Banelings, and Banelings EMP doesn't matter at all. So just 1 or 2 Fungals is enough to ruin a day of a Terran army.
And how many workers have been killed? 15 to just 2. So GuMiho not getting the harassment he wants done either. Another Fungal does pin this in place. Nice job to drop down the Marauders and just kill a couple extra forces, soak up a little bit more damage there. At the same time, a big drop is actually coming through, and GuMiho able to get a little bit of damage done with that at the same time, and he starts to move up and clear creep tumors with a big Bioforce.
He's doing some multitasking. Obviously, this Infestor wall is going to be able to Fungal those in place until they are dead. And he could actually go for this medevac, but it doesn't have any energy, so he decides to spare it. You know, don't really need to use a lot of you know, useful Infestor energy to catch a single injured medevac with no energy left. 4 Ghosts coming out now. Personal Cloaking is going to be done in a moment, as well as +3 armor. Does he have, yeah, he's already got +3 weapons, so both players are going to be on max upgrades for their units here soon. Ventral Sacs being upgraded now. Or wait, is that the Ventral Sacs one?
No, Pneumatized Carapace.
Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, GuMiho is still trying to drop. He is trying to push in here. This was really risky. If there were any Banelings there just now, that force would have been donezo, and now the Fungals come in as well as a lot more Lings. I think the force is donezo.
The force is officially donezo, but that was still a lot of Lings that were thrown away from HyuN. He can afford it right now, so it's not the worst trade for him, but he did throw away some Lings. Too bad he just has too many Banelings left over and just obliterates both command centers that were sitting there.
HyuN just like just trickles in with a couple of Banelings and destroys an orbital. No big deal. Not to mention killing that whole force. So HyuN is just having fun rolling around the map, splitting up Lings, attacking different forces. GuMiho trying to do what he can to keep HyuN limited on bases. I hear a bunch of snipes going down, but I also hear some ghost yells. So these Banelings actually still going to be very, very effective if they crash into this planetary, for example.
And I think that's just what they're planning to do. Bye-bye! And the planetary is blown up.
All right, so big investment from HyuN, but obviously taking out that base is wonderful for him. Killed a lot of workers as well. Ghosts are out on the field. We heard those snipes earlier, but not being too effective because, you know, EMP is just not worth a whole lot right now. The Infestors are very limited. They don't have that much energy anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the EMPs were good.
9 Broodlords coming, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. And there's no anti-air whatsoever. He's purely investing into Marauders and Marines. And this is HyuN's style. This is what I expected out of him. Dominate from point A to point B the whole way. Just keep up high aggression, keep up very high Zergling and Baneling counts, and just make sure that your opponent can never get anything going. And that's exactly what HyuN has done to a T.
You can see the slow blob of red moving around. That's something like 9 Broodlords meeting up with all the Lings, Banelings, and Infestors that we saw earlier. So there we can see the cohesive force of Queens coming along for the ride as well. As creep spread is so far, that's actually not even a terrible decision. They will be able to drop transfusions and things onto Infestors and Broodlords, but GuMiho, his forces are looking kind of scant at the moment. 6 Marauders and 6 Marines being produced at a time, but if HyuN actually manages to get to these production structures, that's not even going to matter.
Nope. And now comes the big siege push. And what does GuMiho have? Looks like he's just going to run across the map. No, now starting to come back. Oh,
what?
my God. 46 Banelings morphing in at the exact same time.
Oh, my God. So he's going to drop a Ghost, try to drop an EMP on the Infestors. He hits a lot of the Infestors, but there's a lot of Banelings here still standing. GG before the blast even can complete, before those 40 Banelings can even connect with anything. Oh my goodness. HyuN taking a 4-2 lead now in this best of 5. GuMiho did what no other Terran opponent could do, got 2 wins, but this is looking scary now.
Yeah, we're down to the wire. It's do or die for GuMiho. He has to win 3 games in a row. Looks like he is going to pick Metropolis for game number 7, and it's kind of an interesting map choice. GuMiho can certainly has a lot of flexibility as a Terran player, but this is a map where HyuN is able to pull off that mass Baneling style very, very efficiently. So let's run to a commercial break, guys. When we get back, it's game number 7. We'll see if GuMiho is, like so many others, going to be eliminated, or if he can start to bring things back.